Delta Force Black Hawk Down launches to mostly negative reviews because of its difficulty. Michael. Grant Taylor Hill, Insider Gaming. Delta Force Black Hawk Down was released by Team Jade and Teamy Studio Group on February 21st, just the other day, but it was quickly spiraled out of control where reviews are concerned. Black Hawk Down is the story-driven branch of Delta Force, the Battlefield-like shooter that was released in December of 2024. They released the extraction shooter and a Battlefield mode, two separate modes. I love the extraction shooter. Just waiting for it to come over to console. Come on, Team Jade. What are you waiting for? Black Hawk Down, though, is a free expansion that offers players either solo or with friends to explore a campaign mode that replicates the events that occurred in 1993 as part of the Battle of Mogadishu. However, critics have surfaced online stressing that the mode is unnecessarily difficult and the overall ratings, well, are crashing the whole game, more or less. Black Hawk Down looks great on the surface. It's actually done in Unreal Engine 5, where the multiplayer is Unreal Engine 4. Matter of time, I think, before they do the upgrade, right? If they want to keep that going, there's only one way you can go, Michael. But the consensus amongst players diving into the free Delta Force expansion, which was released on the 21st, as we said, outed 3,400 reviews at the time of writing on Steam. Only 35% are positive.
Ooh.
So here's a couple quotes we got. Quote, so many stupid design choices that hold back what could be really a cool, if not short, single-player shooter experience, end quote, said one. Another said, unnecessarily difficult. Played it with a two-man crew, and the last level is basically impossible. Michael, will they fix this?
This is a tough one, right? I think this is something that a lot of games have always struggled with through is how do you make it difficult without making it just stupidly hard, right? And I think that's always one of those, it's like, I mean, obviously the Souls-like games are kind of their own thing. They've kind of figured it out, but it's like a lot of games you're like, okay, this is too, like I have a buddy, he's playing Avowed, right? I'll use this up. He's like, this game feels easy. Let me turn up the difficulty. All right, they just have health. They're just bullet sponges now. It's not like the game's any harder. It's just like instead of having 1,000 health, it has 5,000 health, and everything just takes longer, right? And that's something that I think it feels like 90% of games have always struggled with. Like you're like, okay, this is easy. Let me bump the difficulty up, and this is just really hard, right? As a Call of Duty player, everyone will remember I think it was World War II. They're just you do it on the hardest difficulty on Veteran. There's just grenades spawning literally on top of you, and you're always having to move, and it just like. It was cool when you beat it, but like at the time you're like, this is really dumb. This isn't challenging. This is just like they had to figure out something to make it hard. So like we're just gonna make the enemies have infinite grenades. So I'll be curious. I would assume they just need to make maybe a lower difficulty level, right? Give it that hardest one. There's gonna be people who are gonna like no. I get it's annoying. I get I complained. I still want to go beat it on that hardest difficulty, and it'll take something away if they just go in and immediately nerf it and say, all right, you guys, we'll bring it down for you. I think they'll come up with something, Drew. But I think a lot of people after a day or so, they'll just be like, all right, let me go in there. Let me just beat this. It's now a part of my accomplishment, my pride if I did it before they toned it down.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before they actually go in and tweak it a little bit at least, right? If they're getting all this negative feedback, it doesn't look good for your game on Steam, straight up. So you want to make sure you get there. Granted, on the other side of it, dude, it's free to play.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they didn't charge you for the campaign at all. Unheard of. Like, you buy Call of Duty, unless you have Game Pass. Right, so like that's how that one works. But yeah, you can play Warzone for free. So it's funny to see a campaign come out completely free. That is interesting to me. See how well they can actually flip that around. They want to keep that momentum going, especially when they finally bring it over to console. I always find when you're playing a single player game, when you're at the end of the game because the boss is just ridiculous, right? Like, oh, okay, this is where I hit the wall because we're now at the end of the game. Developers don't want you just to plow right through it, which I understand. At the same point, sometimes, dude, I'm at the end of the game. I just want to wrap it up and move on, right? So the whole player's back. Make it so challenging. They got to come in and do something. I think Team J will be listening. They have to be listening closely because this also hurts the multiplayer side of it too, right? You get that negative feedback on the entire game. So it's not just a part of the game. It's this part in particular, but it will trickle over into the multiplayer side, which I had a blast. Battlefield side, not for me. I talked about the extraction a lot here. We actually hung out with Novak from the team and played the extraction shooter. Had a ton of fun, man. Absolutely loved it. Like I said, can't wait for it to come to console. But yeah, games are difficult. You ever heard of Elden Ring? You ever heard of Dark Souls, Demon Souls? Dude, look, those games are challenging. Somebody's got to be able to beat this thing. Come on.